Today on Gambler Spec, we're working on suspension on the TAZR. We're going to be changing out the shocks front and rear, as well as adding some lift to the back to get us a little bit more clearance. I think what we'll try is to go out and get a video of what it's like now. I tried to get one of those hula girls to go on the dash so you could kind of see how bumpy it was, but apparently that's not really something that people keep in stock anymore. But I was able to find this on sale even. K. Robertson from the television show Duck Dynasty bobblehead. So not sure how that stacks up to the hula girl, but we'll put the bobblehead on the dash with some duct tape and head out to the hills and see what happens. Okay, suspension test time. We got the TAZR out here at Chokecherry Canyon. I forgot there has been some flooding recently, so some of the road on the way out here was a little bit washed out. But here's the plan. We're going to set the TAZR somewhere between 25 and 30. 30 seemed a little bit too fast on the way in, but 25 seemed a little bit too slow. So I'm going to try to set it somewhere in between and hold it as much as possible. Try not to lift and try to keep it going straight so that I can duplicate the run later. Unfortunately, the K. Robertson from television show Duck Dynasty was not made for a 2001 Crown Victoria dash, so she had to be amputated to be able to fit. But we've got a GoPro there, and then as a backup we've also got this glass of water with the level set in Sharpie, so we can kind of see how bumpy it was with the stock suspension. Right now I've already got the tires aired down a little bit to 20 psi because it was pretty much unbearable at 30. So I'm going to give this a try. I don't know if the phone mount and the GoPro mount is going to hold or how it's going to go, but we'll give it a try here. I'm going to start right here at this warning sign. What does this say? Warning, natural gas pole. Okay, so start here, 25 miles an hour, keep it steady. Try not to lift until I get to a good stopping point, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. We've got GoPro recording on the amputee Kate Robertson. We've got the water level set at the pole, 25-30. Here we go. All right, suspension test number 1 completed. What did we learn? Number 1, the K. Robertson amputee cam, although it seemed like a good idea, was complete garbage. GoPro didn't record anything, so that was a waste. But we did have our backup suspension measuring tool. As you can see, Crown Victoria factory suspension is good for about half a glass of water. So we'll see what that actually means when we get the suspension on in the next week, see if it rides any better. Other thing we learned, windshield wipers are terrible. So gonna have to fix that as well. But for now, we're headed off back to the garage to get started working on some of this stuff. I've got to do something with that ladder. Oh, that is terrible. Starting on the suspension this morning, and already we are full of failures. So first off, time lapse failed, but I got this wheel and tire off and the shock out, and that went relatively well. Then went to put the new one in, and the distance between the mounting holes is different. So this one is 2 1/8, and the one that I've got is 2 7/16. So right here in between is too wide to hit the bolt holes. So I got a couple options, and I looked at them. I think this is just the civilian model is the issue versus the police interceptor model. Lengthwise, they look about the same extended, and I checked the compression, and they're about the same compressed. This one feels much squishier. It's definitely not as heavy duty as this one, which might be good. So my options are really, do I just try to, carve that out and make it fit? I went to O'Reilly's and I went to AutoZone this morning, and the only ones they have in stock were like $52 a piece, and I think I got these for like $23. Really don't want to spend, $120 on front shocks for a gambler. So I think what I'm going to do is, since these were only like $23 a piece, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try it on this first one, see if I can't just make those holes fit. If I can make it fit, we'll try it out. Worst case scenario, I'll keep the old ones and we can throw those back in, but I think a softer shock might be good for what I need. I've taken so much weight off, and really I just need it to ride a little smoother. So we'll grind that up, throw it in, see what happens. So this is what we ended up with. I think I've got it narrow enough now to be able to bolt in. Threw a little bit of spray paint on there just to cover up some of the raw metal. I also opened up the wheel spacers because I figured, might as well see what else is wrong, but they seem like they'll be okay. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put this shock in, bolt this wheel back up, and if all that goes on correctly, then we'll have a time lapse coming up of the other side. Well, it was inevitable. Got another problem here. So what we're going to need to do, these wheel spacers, which are 1 inch, are not enough to pass the ends of the old studs. So I'm going to need to come back and mark this. I was debating on just going without the wheel spacers, but with the amount of rubbing that I have, I kind of think I need it. So what I'll do is make a mark on all these, pull them off, pull the spacers off, put the nuts back on, cut them, clean them, pull the nuts back off, and then try again. There we go. All the studs trimmed back, so now my wheel can sit flush. Got them all torqued down. We'll install that wheel. Wheel reinstalled with the 1 inch spacer. Give you an idea if you look at that ball joint there. We'll go over to this side. You can definitely see that it's spaced out more. The side of the vehicle. Yeah, definitely more. We'll see if we actually like it and if it works out. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to a time lapse, and I'll work on the other side. Well, that was a pain getting that shock off. The nut was completely rusted on the top, so it took a while. Ended up cutting it off. Opened up the other shock, and guess what? This is the right distance on the bottom, but it's missing the cover. And so, interesting. Looked at the box themselves, and I've got a number 344397 and 343128. So everything's apart, cut the shock off, and now I got two different shocks. I don't know which one is right. Maybe this one was right, but it's missing a cover. I don't know. So I'm gonna see what I can do with Amazon, and then maybe put the old shock back on from the other side. So, sure. Amazon put me in touch with KYB, whose store it was that I bought the shocks from. They said, "Where did you get those shocks? None of those are for a Crown Victoria." So I sent them the screenshot showing that it said it fit 2001 Crown Victoria, and waiting to hear back. In the meantime, we've got this wheel and tire on now. We got the 1-inch spacer in there in the front, and basically just left the shock out for now. So we'll see what they say. If they want to return these, whatever, I'll send them back and go get something different. We'll just see what they say. I'm about to start the back. I wanted to do the front first because that was supposed to be the easy part, but turned out not to be that easy. So the back, we're doing a lift. So right now, right at the top of this fender, you can see we're at 36.5 inches. Right at that spot. We're gonna put in the 2.5-inch lift spacers and then see if we can make these shocks work that I got. I'm gonna check the part numbers first, make sure they match, and they say they're for an F-150, so I knew this one was going to be a little trickier. So the plan is drop the axle, get the springs out, put the bushings in, take the other shocks out, look and see if it looks like it's going to work, and then put the F-150 shocks in there and just see what happens. So we're still waiting on a shock solution for the front, but I went ahead and moved to the back. The back shocks are extremely difficult to get to. Let me kind of show you what we got. So what I've done is basically cut an access hole here in the floor in order to get to the nut on the top. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible to get to it. You've got to hold the top piece while you're spinning the retaining nut, and it's a huge pain. But I got those off. I'll put these panels back on, probably with some screws, so that I can take them off again later if I ever need to get back to the shocks. So this is what I was dealing with before. These are the rear shocks at full compression, and basically they were riding at their max extension. They were riding all the way extended because of the weight that was removed from the rear of the car, and so there really wasn't any up travel. So I've moved on to an F-150 shock now, and you can see this is at full compression, and I got a tape measure. Let's see. So at full compression, it's just about 2¼ inches longer than the factory. So I don't think bottoming out would have been an issue anyway, but just in case, went and got some spring compressors, compressed the springs, and put in this 2.5-inch lift spacer or lift bushing in the back. So now that you've got 2.5 extra inches here, you shouldn't have an issue bottoming out at all. But let me pause this here and I'll show you the full extended length. Okay, so at full extended length, you've got about 6 inches more of up travel. So I'm hoping that part of the rough ride that I had was the fact that I was just constantly topping out those shocks, and that by adding just a little bit of up travel as well as having some new shocks, maybe it'll ride a little bit better. So now that I've got those bushings installed, I'm going to get these shocks installed, and then that'll probably wrap it up for me today. Rear end is finished up this morning. This is what it looks like. We got the 2.5-inch spacers installed. Give you an idea about how much taller it is here. All right, so we were at 36.5 before, and looks like we're pushing 38 3/4. So just about, what, 2.25 inches of lift on the back. Gave it a little bit of a rake there, which is nice. Got some more clearance in the back for when we carry a load, and we'll see if that helps with the ride. Front shocks, we've got this side installed. I found out that is actually a shock from a Ford Ranger, but it seems good, and for the price there wasn't anything even comparable. And then on this side I ended up just putting back in the old shock from the driver's side for now. There wasn't anybody in town that had anything. I mean, everything they had, the cheapest one I think in KYB was like $81, and they had to still order it. The one on Amazon was like $35 to match the other Ford Ranger one. So I got that in order. It'll show up in Idaho when I head there next week, and we'll get that thrown in. But we are going to do the test drive here in just a few minutes. I'll take the car out for the first time since we've got the spacers on and see if we have any rubbing issues. I got the ladder taken off, so we'll cut down the noise. And then we'll take it back on that same little trip and just see if it seems like it's any better. Okay, first drive with the new shocks. And the wheel spacers, so we'll see if we still have the rubbing. First test. Still some rubbing, but I think I got further. Maybe. Well, that sounded worse. Dang it. So noisy. Alright, pause till I get to the dirt road. Alright, on the dirt road. So far this seems pretty much exactly the same. I don't know, we'll see. I'll stop up here at the start marker. Alright, we got the water level set at the line. A lot less wash and water out here today than last time. We're going to try to keep it about 30. That's what we did last time. And I don't have high hopes. So we get to the starting line here. Here we go. 30. Well, a couple things. Our water level definitely much higher than last time, but I have a feeling that most of that was because they bladed the road since I did the test last time. So awesome test, very scientific. I do think maybe it's a little bit smoother, but not that great. But on this bladed road, drives pretty nice, not too bad. I'm gonna head back to the garage, and then I think that's pretty much it for this video. We got pretty much everything we needed with the suspension. We'll put that other shock on when I get up to Idaho. But for now, thanks for watching.